Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much once again joining me for tea time. Today we have a little bit of fireside. That smokiness of the lapsang, guys, you know I love it. So good, so good. I hope you're joining me with your cup of tea, maybe a cup of coffee, maybe something harder. Depends on what part of the planet you're on. So today is going to be a photo day. You know this channel is all about photo, video, and tech. Today is once again a photo day. We're going to be talking about the Canon EOS R and how it compares to the EOS 5D Mark IV for a wedding. And how do I set up that Canon EOS R so it feels more like a DSLR or just simply better? So before I get into this, I want to say that if you haven't downloaded any of my ebooks as of yet, go check them out. Go over to JCristina.com/books. Once again, JCristina.com/books. And if you get anything out of this video at all, please give it a thumbs up and also consider subscribing to the channel and clicking this little bell icon over here. So when I go live or when a new video comes out, you will be notified of it immediately. And if you would like to say thank you, simply click this little thank you button down there, or maybe become a member of the channel. That would be awesome also. Anyways, we're going to get into this, and I think a lot of you are going to find this interesting because I've got a lot of questions about this. What do you think about DSLR in comparison to mirrorless? What are the good points? What are the bad points? And that's kind of what I want to get into today, along with giving you my settings that I have changed on the EOS R that have helped a lot, tremendously, okay, tremendously. And as I do in all of my videos, instead of just simply giving you the how to do something, I give you the why. Why do I do this? I'm glad you asked. The reason being is so that you can take this information and use it for your camera, for example, setting up your camera. Even though the information or the settings will be in different menu locations, you'll get the grasp or the understanding of why I'm doing it, and then you can do it on yours. Now, when it comes to weddings, you guys know that I'm not a wedding photographer. I was many years ago. I shot a plethora of weddings. I cut my teeth on weddings in very high caliber event photography, but not as much anymore. For the most part, I do DP work. I'm a director of photography. I do episodic TV as well as like commercials, ad spots, this type of thing. And we still do product as well as fashion photography, and of course some high-end events that come up. But weddings are not something that I do on a regular basis, and I only do it if it's a large event or if it's a colleague of mine and they request me to do it, and I will do it. And that's exactly what happened yesterday. So I shot her wedding, and I think it came out absolutely beautiful. And I thought this would be a great time to be able to talk to you guys about this. So what I did is I used two cameras. I used the 5D as well as the R. So to compare and contrast the two, I like shooting two cameras anyways, because on one camera, I'll have one setup was normally like a 24-70, and on the other camera, I'll have either a 70-200 for some really long shots if I need to, depending on how big the venue is, or maybe a portrait lens for doing some up-close work and some really nice portraiture of the guests that have come. I set up the 5D with the 24-70 and the EOS R with an 85 1.8. Now, VILTROX ended up sending me in a 85 1.8. It's an AF lens prime. And I figured, well, might as well give it a shot and check it out on this wedding. Now, they didn't pay me to do a review of it. They just send it in and they said, take a look at it. I don't have to do a review, and I'm not doing a review. I'm just going to tell you about it. By the end of this video, you'll know my thoughts on it, the good and the bad. So if you want to hear about that VILTROX 85 1.8 Portrait Prime, well, listen to the end of this video. Anyways, let's jump right into this Canon EOS R settings because I think a lot of these are going to be helpful to you. Now, in the first menu, we can see the camera. Now, if we go to screen number 1 of 6, you can see image review. Now, I set this to off. Normally, it comes default at 2 seconds. It could be set for 2 seconds, 4 seconds, 8 seconds, or hold. Now, for me, this is set to off. And the reason being is the main problem that I have with mirrorless cameras is the EVF. And I talked about this in my last video or 2 videos ago. The EVF is the bane of mirrorless, in my personal opinion. They're just simply not there yet. And while there's not blackout, there is lag in those EVFs. And I've said that I do believe that there is work that needs to be done with these EVF, with the hertz needs to come up to about 480 plus hertz. There's a lot of things, but you can watch that video for all of my specifics. But what ends up happening is if you have your image review set to 2 seconds, when you take a picture, all right, actually with this camera, you have the VILTROX on there. As you can see, this is the Canon EOS R. So if I take a picture, now, what happens is in the EVF, it shows me the image immediately, and it stays on the screen for 2 seconds. That's a default. So if I take a picture, now I see the image that I just took for 2 seconds, and then all of a sudden I see the scene again. This is the problem. This is the equivalent to blackout. A lot of people are like, oh, Joe, there's no blackout. This doesn't have blackout. You know, my camera has no blackout. Well, there's a pause, okay? There's a pause. So when I set this to off, the pause goes away, kind of, sort of. So instead of having a 2 second pause where you see the image that you just captured for about, let's say, a half a second. It still pauses before showing you what the lens is seeing once again in the EVF. The problem with this is if you're tracking something really quick and you're taking a picture, during that half second pause, the subject has probably already moved and now you're trying to find it again and track it. Not a fan of the damn pause. It might as well be a blackout because you can't see what's going on outside of your lens. You can't see it because it is not there. You're seeing the image, the paused image, or the image that you just captured, even if you shut this off. My recommendation, shut the damn thing off because it will help immensely. 2 seconds to like a half second, that is a big deal to me. Next, go over to, once again, the camera setting, which is that first menu, and go to screen 3 of 6, and you will see ISO speed settings. In there, I set this to ISO speed auto. Now, normally I would set this to whatever I want the ISO to, 400, 1600, whatever, because I shoot everything in manual. But a lot of you guys shoot in AV or TV, in aperture priority or shutter priority, and you ask me for advice, and this is probably one of the best things I can tell you to do, is put this into auto and then come down to where it says ISO speed range and then auto range and then finally minimum shutter speed. And then set this up accordingly, especially the auto range. In here, it is set currently for 100 ISO all the way up to 12,800 ISO automatically. Now, I would take that 12,800, that top of the ISO range number, and dial it into the absolute maximum ISO that you are comfortable with, the amount of noise that you're comfortable with. On this camera, 12,800 is maximum. I could still use this image and then in post-production massage the hell out of it to get a lot of that noise and artifacting out so it still looks like a good image. And sometimes it's just better to get the image instead of getting the perfect image. So you might be only comfortable at 6,400, let's say, or maybe 3,200. Set this maximum to whatever you want and then set it to auto and then move over to your AV or TV, however you want to set it. For me, I shoot fully manual, but you guys have asked me about this, so this is what I would do. Now, the next change will happen in the exact same menu option, the camera option or your first option. Go to screen 4 of 6, and here you'll see white balance. Now, in my personal opinion, white balance is mission critical. A lot of you are going to say, Joe, we shoot in RAW. Who really gives a crap? You could just change it after the fact. Well, you're right and you're wrong, and I'm going to tell you why. For me, I always set a custom white balance. Here you can see it set for 4,900 Kelvin. Now, what I do is I set a white balance for the outside of the venue, the inside of the venue, let's say the church or the synagogue, and then another white balance for the reception area. How do I do that? So what I do is I use one of my PRTs that I've invented, right? It is basically a gray card that looks like this. I will shoot an image of this gray card and then custom white balance based on the gray card in the light that I'm at. Then I'll shoot the back side of this gray card where you see this dual color calibrator. I use this then for dialing in the exact color after the fact in post-production. Why is this? Well, number one, I get the baseline color exact in each one of the 3 locations, so that all of the images in that location, if I take the white balance off this card and then copy it to all, let's say in the reception, I copy my image of this from the reception and copy that white balance to all of them, they will all be neutral. They will all be neutralized, but neutral images look dead. And that's where this other side, this dual access color calibrator comes in that I created. What this allows you to do is simply click on any one of these tiles and make the image either warmer using these 2, or make the image cooler using these 2. Most of you guys will go into your image editor and take the Kelvin slider and move it to the right for yellow, and now everything gets warmer, or to the left and everything gets cooler. The problem with that is when you move your slider to the right, let's say, and now everything gets warmer or more yellow, well, their teeth get yellow too, their eyes get yellow, they look jaundiced. Or if you move it to the left, let's say, and now everything's getting blue and more cool, well, yeah, now you have dead looking people. That's not how you warm and cool an image. By using this and just simply clicking on there for your white balance, this not only takes account for your yellow to blue, but also your tint, which is your magenta to green. So now you're warming and cooling things properly. Stop moving that damn Kelvin slider, because I know who you are and you've been doing it forever. Now I just taught you how to do it properly. Do it properly. You need to adjust both. And what this allows you to do is adjust both simply just by clicking anywhere. Very, very simple. That's why I invented this. You can find this over on my website. You can find it on Amazon. You can find these on B&H Photo and Video. They look like this. PRT, photo reference tool. Anyways, that's what I use. I've used these ever since I invented them. And even before that, I was going in there and making the corrections myself. The problem with doing that is, and a lot of people, like I said from the beginning, said they use, oh, we are shooting raw. We'll go in there and make the changes ourselves. The problem is when you do that, you're making changes on every single image because you're allowing the camera to decide automatically what the Kelvin should be. So even if they're in the exact same setting, sometimes the camera might freak out and end up with just cooler images or warmer images or more tint one way or another, magenta or green. And now you're having to fix it image by image by image. This takes forever. Just stop. Just absolutely stop. You can get it right one time and just copy it across the entire gamut, and you just fix, let's say, 500 images. And then if you want to make little tweaks here and there, that's fine, but you have a really good baseline. So that's what I do for color. Now moving into the next menu option, once again, it's inside camera, but it is screen 6 of 6, and that is silent shutter. You want to select silent level mode 1. Mode 2 really just doesn't work very well for me. The default mode just is loud and clunky. It literally sounds like my 5Ds. So for me, I like to leave the sound on, but I switch it to mode 1. You still feel, you get the tactile response and you can hear the click, but it's not loud. You're not going to hear it very much. It'll be very, very low, pretty close to silent. Now you can set this camera to silent mode, but bear in mind, there is issues in doing so. If you turn silent mode on, what will happen is you might get some rolling shutter if you have fast moving action. That's number one. But also you cannot shoot high speed and you cannot shoot flash photography. For me, I think flash is one of the best things that you can do inside a building or even in sunlight. Flash just allows you to take complete control over the image. If you're not shooting flash and you're one of those people say, oh, you know, I'm a purist, I only shoot natural light. Shut up. Shoot flash. I know it's not easy, but once you learn how to shoot flash, you will never go back to natural light. Trust me. You still shoot natural light, I do, but we balance it with the flash. And if you do flash properly, you don't even know that the flash went off. That is how an image should look. There should be some flash to fill, but you shouldn't even notice that flash was even there. Then you got flash right. Anyways, moving into the next setting, this is the second menu option or AF option. If you go to screen 1 of 5, it says AF. For me, I set it up for AF and then it has a little square. That means it's a pinpoint AF, a small location. Now, I use this in comparison to using, for example, Face Detect or Eye Detect AF. The reason being is I still want to tell the camera exactly where I want it to focus, and then by holding down or halfway holding that shutter, move and recompose and then take the picture. Conversely, if I was shooting portraiture and it's only going to be one head in the shot or one person in the shot, I would, instead of shooting this mode, I would shoot with Face Detect or Eye Detect. This way I can shoot and not worry about if the subject's eyes are in the middle of the image or on the top third or the lower third or whatever. It gives me more ability to move around the subject and not have to, for example, focus on eyes and then recompose, shoot, focus on eyes, recompose, shoot. That gets to be a pain. So for me, I shoot it on AF with the little small target. That works for me the best. The next thing I think is amazing, and if you haven't done this as of yet, you really should. Once again, from the second menu option, AF, go to screen 2 of 5, and you'll see MF peaking settings, which is your manual focus peaking settings. Now you have peaking, you have level and color. I set my peaking to on, my level to high, and color to red. And underneath that, I put focus guide on also. I love this. Now you will never see any of this until you turn your lens autofocus off and flip it on to MF instead of AF. And immediately the camera will recognize that now the lens is in manual focus. It will turn on focus peaking as well as your focus guide, and things are just beautiful. Okay, this is, to me, awesome. For example, if you're doing rings, well, if you want to compose the image exactly the way you want it, you don't want to focus on the ring and then recompose and focus on the ring and recompose, right? You could switch over to manual, and now you can see the focus peaking or that bright red edge that is in focus. All right, so we can put it into manual focus, look in, compose the image, and then simply adjust the focus until the ring is glowing red and take the shot. And that is it. Very, very simple. And I think that the focus peaking in this camera is exceptional. I've tried a lot of focus peaking in a lot of different cameras. This really, really works well. It is dead on accurate. And once again, by setting those levels to high, it makes it really bright and stand out. And then once again, as soon as you flip that lens back to autofocus, this all goes off and you don't see it anymore. Turn it on. You'll love me for it. I promise you. Anyways, the next change is in the fourth menu option, or the wrench. If you go to screen 2 of 6, you'll see eco mode. I have that set to off. Now, obviously this depends on your use case, but I have that set to off. But where it says power savings, if you go into there, you'll see display. Now the default is set to 1 minute. Auto power off is set to disabled, and viewfinder is set to 3 minutes. Now for me, I want my display, the big, massive screen on the back, 3-inch, to turn off after 30 seconds. I don't need it on for a minute. Because if I take a shot, I put it down or I put it to my side, I don't need it to sit there for a minute where I'm not looking at it. 30 seconds is enough. That's kind of a sweet spot for me. So you, once again, dial it in to what works best for your use case. But for me, 30 seconds is good enough. Now, moving into the next wrench setting, or fourth menu option, screen 3 of 6, the beep. Make sure this damn thing is disabled. By default, the beep is on. If you don't turn this beep off, you look like the biggest noob and amateur on the planet, all right? You don't want beep, 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 beep every time you're pulling focus like some type of nerd. Just stop it already. Just stop it, because turn it off, okay? I'm not gonna say anything else. Turn the damn thing off. The next thing is in the fourth menu, once again in the wrench area, screen 6 of 6, you'll see the copyright information. Display copyright information, edit author's name, edit copyright details. Go into edit author's name, put your name in there. Then in copyright details, put whatever works for you. In mine, you can see it says author JCristina, and under copyright, it says JCristina.com, which is my website, and then all rights reserved. If you have not done this as of yet, you need to do it. I don't care if it's your website or your phone number or your address or something. Some means for people to get a hold of you, and so that people know that you took this picture. A lot of folks say, oh, you know what, in post-production, in my Lightroom or in this or that or whatever, I put all of this information into the metadata. Why? Put it into the metadata at the time of exposure, so it is there. You once again will thank me for this. If you haven't done it yet, do it immediately. This is the first thing that I do with every single camera. What this means is that if you lose your camera, well, your information is in the camera because it's on that CF card or your SD card. If you lose one of those SD cards or CF cards, I know you have, I know I have. Anyone could put that into their computer, look at one image and look at that metadata, and they will know exactly who owns that CF card or SD card. And if they're nice enough, which has happened, they'll call you or they'll contact you and say, listen, you know, you dropped this CF card. It's over at the main desk. You can pick it up anytime. Thank you very much. So it is very, very important. If you have not done this as of yet, you know, just hit yourself with a tack hammer because you really need to. All right. This is very, very important. Once again, the first thing that I always do with any new camera, put that copyright information in there. Now, the very last setting that we're going to change is in the 5th menu option under camera customization. Now, from there, you go to screen 4 of 6 and you'll see customize multifunction bar or M-FN bar. This is that bar, that little slider type of thing, that tactile bar that Canon just decided to test out on this camera that is just a hella trash. It is horrible. And as you can see, future cameras that came out down the road don't have them anymore because everyone said it's trash. Well, it is. And you always like hit it and slide it, and depends on what function. You're changing functions. So what I do is I go into this customization and I turn it off completely. So as far as this wedding goes, which camera was I using most? Well, for all of the critical happenings during the event, I felt like I was grabbing that 5D. The reason being is I have hundreds of thousands of images shot on it, and I know that I'm going to get that image 100%, 110% of the time, because I just simply know it. I've got a lot more use out of it, whereas the EOS R is more new, let's say, to me. Now, on the other hand, when I was capturing the folks on the dance floor, and there was a lot of fast action going on, and I was shooting up from the top and whatnot, you know, shooting down on people, well, I pulled this out instead. The reason being is I don't have a battery grip on it. It was very light, okay? I didn't use this lens. I used a wide angle, but it was lighter, quicker, and I felt that the autofocus was more snappy on this compared to my 5D Mark IV. Now, does that mean that this is faster than the 5D? Well, maybe the 5D Mark IV is just getting tired. Like I said, it's got hundreds of thousands of images on it, and this is brand new. But it was noticeable. I felt like I was locking on the subject much faster with this in comparison to the 5D. Now, as I said, I would give you my thoughts on this VILTROX 85, let's say portrait prime 1.8. It is an 85 millimeter. I really liked it. You know, I didn't think I'm not a VILTROX. I usually don't shoot a lot of third party. I shoot a lot of Canon glass. If I shoot third party, I'll shoot like Tamron sometimes. I really love the Tamron 90 macro. It's probably the sharpest lens that I own. But this thing was just really good. The weight on it, the build quality is really quite good. It didn't feel cheapy. Was it as sharp as my L glass, a similar like the 85 1.4? Close. If you're pixel peeping, maybe not. But if you're not pixel peeping, you won't tell the difference. You can trust me on that. The autofocus now, the VILTROX compared to the Canon L, they were like dead the same. I mean, they were literally on par, let's say. I mean, literally on par. So the one thing that I'd have to say with this lens that I absolutely hate is this lens hood. This is the biggest piece of crap I've ever seen, okay? The build, The build on this is 100% cheap plastic, and to put this on is literally, it is horrible. Now, we all know that you line up the dots, right? Once the dots are lined up, you can spin it to lock it in. But you see how we missed it? We missed it, right? Because I'm not looking at it. You gotta get it just right, okay? And jiggle it and then turn it, and this time I got it. Going this way is okay, but now, and even coming off, right? Going the other way, let's say I wanna stow it, right? Getting this right, any of you guys from VILTROX watching this video, get this mold that you have for this hood and recreate it in aluminum or in something that is a composite plastic material like you would see with a Sony, a Canon, or Nikon or something like that. Because this is trash, okay? This is just a hell of garbage. It is horrible. Now, did I get a bad one? It's possible. And if I did, I will apologize, but as you can see, this is not, okay, let me just stop there, all right? If for some reason they sent me another one of these and it's just perfect and it fits on here great, I will do another video just specifically on this, maybe a little short 2-minute video, and I'll say that I was wrong and this was defective. We will see what happens with that. But honestly, looking at this lens and the images produced, also the speed in which it produces them, the AF tracking, it is literally 1/4 the price. It's $400 compared to $1,600. Would I buy this? The answer to that is yes. It is a really good lens. It is a value lens. It is an affordable alternative to a Canon 1.8, all right? Once again, portrait lens like a 85mm. It's a little bit lighter, but it is also very, very sharp. So this is available for Canon as well as Nikon and Sony and Fuji, I believe. So check them out. And if you want to, I'll put a link in the description below as well as a pinned comment. So I'll give you a link to my Amazon site. I might make 50 cents if you pick one of these up, but honestly, I really do like it. You know, besides this damn thing, the actual lens is really good. It worked out really well. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you've learned something from it. You got my ideas. Once again, the how and the why I set things up the way I do. If you have any further questions about this, let me know. And also, if you have other settings that you prefer or other settings that I missed that will help me and help the community, please add them in the comment area, because we are here all to learn together. I'm not like some guru here telling you exactly what to do and follow me. No, we learn together. I give you my perspective. I give you what works for me, and then you take it as you will, because this is my use case and how I shoot. It may not be the way you shoot. Anyways, once again, if you enjoyed this, throw it a thumbs up. That'd be great. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Click this little bell icon over there so when I go live or when a new video comes out, you'll be notified of it immediately. And if you want to say thank you, you can do so right down here. That would be awesome. Or join the channel by becoming a member. That would be great. And finally, head over to my website, JCristina.com, where you can find all the photography tools I've invented for you and me over the years. And hopefully there's something there that you might like. And if there is, please pick it up and support me and my family. That's it, guys. I'm out of here for yet another vlog. Many blessings to you and your family. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.